welcome back to Teen Story Share. This week we're continuing reading from Into the Heartless Wood by Joanna Ruth Meyer. If you haven't been following along so far, I'm going to put links down below to the past few chapters that we've read so that you can know what's going on. Just a quick reminder for those that have been following along, we just finished reading about Owen's train journey, which did not go so well because the train was derailed by the witch's tree daughters while passing through the forest, and they have just finished killing most of the passengers, or if not all, except for Owen, and he doesn't really understand why the witch's daughter did not kill him. Instead, she told him to run. Also, just a little warning, same as last week, there are some violent scenes in the section that we're reading today. Chapter 5, Monster. The orb at my throat is heavy with souls. They weigh on me. There is a boy in the dark. He stares but does not cower. There is a strangeness about him, a difference in his soul, a familiar spark. I do not want to kill him, to feel his blood warm and wet on my hands. I do not want his soul. I do not need it. The orb is heavy. She will not know. He runs into the night. I let him go. Chapter 6, Owen. I tear into the dark, my feet slapping against the railroad ties, my breathing ragged, frantic. Pain stabs under my ribs. I stumble on one of the cross ties, but haul myself up and keep running. I can't stop. The moment I do, I'm dead. Oh no, bodies, so many bodies. The images crowd in my mind. I can't run fast enough to shake them loose. Oh no, a sob tears out of me. The trees murmur and scrape above my head, an eerie wind seething past my hot face. I run and run and run, following the train tracks, the only possible route of escape. But how far did the train take me into the wood? How many hours was I asleep? Maybe I was nearly to Scythe. Maybe I should have run the other direction. But, oh no, that was the way she had gone. The tree siren, the monster. Slap, slap, slap go my feet against the railroad ties. My pulse is so quick I can't count the beats. I gulp air like I'm drowning, and maybe I am. Drowning in leaves and branches and the horror of her eyes. Now I know the color of a demon's eyes. Yellow. Slap, slap, slap. I run and run. I can't feel my feet. My body seems separated from my mind, like I'm floating somewhere far above, watching my own futile dash to freedom. She stopped singing. That's the only reason my will returned to me. I have no illusions that she really let me go. Why would she? She is a cat and I am a mouse, and any moment now she will catch me in her claws, bat me back and forth between them, leave my broken body on the forest floor like she left all the others. Oh no, my body is screaming to stop running. My mind is screaming to keep going. She was green and gold, silver and violet. There was blood on her hands. The trees watch me as I stagger on. I run until I collapse, and then I pull myself along the railroad tracks, tearing holes in my trousers and scraping my legs raw. I don't make a conscious decision to stop, but I grow aware that I have, huddled between the rails, shaking and shaking. Oh no, I'm going to die here. I will never see my father or Abuela again. Never have the chance to talk to Merwin Griffith. Silver and yellow, violet and green, blood on her hands. My head throbs and my body aches. Silver and yellow, violet and green, red and red and red. Suddenly, it's not the train passengers I see, it's my mother. Her body bloody and broken, her eyes staring into nothing, a last ragged bit of her hair gleaming gold as the vines wrap over her and pull her under the earth. No one should have ended that way, least of all my mother. Not her, not her. I weep for her, understanding for the first time that she's wholly, entirely gone. My father understood it from the beginning. It broke him, body and soul. Exhaustion crowds my mind. Creatures rustle somewhere in the underbrush. The wind rattles the leaves away overhead. I want to sleep. I don't want to see silver and yellow, violet and green. I don't want to see red. I let unconsciousness steal over me piece by piece. I let the horror of the Gwithin's wood lull me to sleep. I wake to the blear of orange light and hands under my armpits hauling me upward. I look into the gaunt face of my father, his mouth pressed into a grim line. Are there any others? I don't understand the question. I'm weary and bewildered. Every part of me aches, and for a moment I forgot why I was lying on the train tracks in the middle of the wood. I don't understand why my father is here. Owen, he says gently, are there any other survivors? Remembrance slams through me, and I stagger under the weight of it. My father keeps a steady hand under my elbow. She slaughtered them. The words choke out of me. She slaughtered them all. He nods, like he was expecting this. Stay close. We have to move fast. He shoves wax into my ears and ties a scarf over my head, then does the same for himself. The world is suddenly muffled. Father grabs the torch lying on the ground, the source of the orange light, and brandishes it ahead of him like a sword. He takes my arm, and I stumble along with him down the railroad tracks. I feel as if I'm in a dream. Perhaps I am. We walk quickly. The trees don't like my father's torch. They hiss and draw back, and I pray to God they're not calling for their mistress. She would laugh at the fire while she sank her claws into us, while she broke us like so many twigs. Around us, the sky begins to lighten. I never expected to see another morning, and yet here are the ragged edges of dawn. The sight of it chokes me. And then we're stepping from the forest, turning south toward our house. We don't take the scarves from our heads or dig the wax from our ears until the observatory tower comes into view, bright in the morning sun. We stop at the garden gate, and Father turns toward me, clapping his hands on my arms. My jaw works as I reach for adequate words to express my gratitude and sorrow and relief. I realize none exist. How? I say instead. I went to the telegraph office last evening on my way home from Brennan's farm. There was no telegram from you, so I sent one inquiring after your train. It had never arrived. I'm shaking. I can't stop. It's only my father's presence that grounds me. How did you know to come look for me? How did you know I wasn't going to lose my son like I lost my wife? His voice is jagged and raw. I would have burned the forest to the ground to find you. I would have driven a knife into the witch's heart. I would have ended all the world before I lost you. I believe him. He pulls me into an embrace, holding me hard against his chest as I shake and shake. I'm safe now. I don't have to be afraid. But I am. Horribly, horribly afraid. Father goes to fetch Abuela from Brennan's farm, and I crawl into my bed and try to sleep. All I can see are her yellow eyes, the blood dripping red from her hands. All right, next time we're going to be reading one final chapter of this book before we move on to a new book for August. I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.